Coming up on Let's Get to the Points.
Now, Hawaii is a bucket list for a lot of people, and so today we're going to break down how you can get to Hawaii using points and miles for your flights.
My favorite has to be Hawaiian Air, and as soon as you step on board, you hear the Hawaiian music, and there's just that sense of aloha.
I actually don't mind flying economy to Hawaii because it's only 6 hours from the West Coast.
I know a lot of people, when they visit Hawaii, they can't decide on which island to visit or if they have enough time to check out multiple islands at once. For someone looking to stay on the beach, my new favorite Waikiki oceanfront hotel is...
But I actually want to bring my family back. That's where we would want to stay if we were to go back.
And my second favorite thing about Hawaii, the shopping bags at the ABC stores.
And now, let's get to the points.
She loves making family travel first class without the first class cost. It's Serena. For him, no travel style is off limits and no destination is too far. It's Miguel. And he loves to use his credit card points and miles for unforgettable experiences in first class and beyond. It's Mitch Shannon.
Hi there. Thank you for joining us on Let's Get to the Points audio video podcast, where we bring you the very best in tips and tricks in the world of miles, points, and travel. I'm Mitch Shannon, joined by my co-hosts who are the best experts in everything points, miles, and travel. First up, she's our travel magician who can turn a pile of points into a Hawaiian sunset. It's Serena.
Hi, everyone.
He's the points master who can find a business class seat to 5-star resorts and still have a bunch of points left over for room service. It's Miguel.
Hey, what's up?
He travels to London, Australia, Japan, but calls Hawaii his home, and he's sharing some of his best travel tips with us tonight. It's our extra special guest co-host, Taryn.
Aloha, everyone.
Please help us out. Click the subscribe button below now to our YouTube channel, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you watch or listen. Also, sign up for our weekly newsletter where we send you the latest news in points and miles. Now let's do it. Let's get to the points. Tonight, we are trading in all of our points and miles for a taste of the Hawaiian island life. Palm trees, Mai Tais, and the sweet smell of plumeria. Hawaii welcomes around 9 million visitors each year, making it a very popular travel destination. And Oahu, home to the capital of Hawaii, Honolulu, is the most visited island. You can fly to Hawaii on points and miles with almost all the U.S. airlines like American, Delta, United, Southwest, and Alaska. And many times you can do it for as little as 25,000 points or less round trip. Now, what are the best ways to book that dream trip to Hawaii with points and miles? That's what we are covering tonight. It's jam-packed with so many of our tips, from our favorite shaved ice locations to the best island locations to visit. And to help us with our discussion tonight, we have our extra special guest co-host, Taryn, from the Instagram channel Peak Season Travel. And as always, we invite you to join in our conversation online by leaving a comment below. Taryn, we are excited to have you with us tonight, and I think each of us were just a little bit jealous. You get to live such a wonderful life there in Hawaii.
What's there to be jealous about? I mean,
Paradise?
I won't lie. It really is paradise. And I'm just grateful and blessed to be here, born and raised on Oahu. Went to college here at the university, met my wife here. So P2 is also a college graduate from UH. We are a family of 6, my wife and I and our 4 kids. We love to travel. Most Hawaii people would not stay in Waikiki, and most of the destinations people from Hawaii love to go to is Las Vegas, California, Disneyland especially, the Pacific Northwest, and Japan. We just got back from a trip from London over spring break, and of course had to book some of that on points. So we had some flights booked both ways on points, also stayed at a Hyatt there, and I'm just so excited to be here.
Wait a minute. Hawaiians like to go to the Pacific Northwest?
Believe it or not, we have a pretty big population in Oregon and Seattle, especially. Las Vegas would be up there. You know, some of us like the cold, or at least for some parts of the year. But yeah, Seattle, Oregon is another hot spot. And of course, we love our Disney. So luckily, it's just a short 5-hour flight away.
That's great.
I know Mitch got excited when you said Disney. And I do have some questions later on once we get to talk about hotels, about the Aulani Resort that is out there in Hawaii. So hopefully there's some insight on that, because I know that's a popular destination for Disney people.
Definitely. Because I've been in hotels for about 10 years. I went to school food for travel. That was my career. So I worked in Waikiki for a good decade. And so most people in the industry, we don't like to vacation in Waikiki because we're fighting traffic every day and we're working there for 8, 10, 12-hour days and spending our holidays there. Most of the time, we like to go outside of Hawaii, which is kind of what drew me away to Europe, especially, and to the West Coast and even beyond the rest of the island.
This is why we were just telling Miguel that he needs to get a rental car when he goes to Hawaii. When are you leaving? In a few weeks?
Yeah, like in a couple of weeks right now. That's what I have booked unless something else pops up.
Which island are you visiting?
I'm going to Oahu. So
Miguel, you've got your trip to Hawaii booked. We all got to get to Hawaii. What did you book to get there? Because I think it's the Dreamliner, right?
Yes, this has been on my bucket list for about a year or whenever it came out. And Hawaiian Airlines has this new Dreamliner 787 that has their new first class, and it looks really, really nice. So I've been looking out for it. There isn't a lot of routes that it flies because they only have a few of these planes, but I was able to book this using my Virgin Atlantic points. Now, the Hawaiian Airlines and Virgin Atlantic partnership is ending in June of 2025. So this will no longer be an option, but I booked it for only 40,000 Virgin Atlantic points and $5.60 from LA to Honolulu. So I'm pretty excited about that.
And you're using your orphaned Virgin miles. Congratulations.
Yeah, they've been sitting there, and I'm like, one of the top options that I wanted to do was this option. And I'm glad because now that's not even going to be an option after the summer. So
that makes me sad that it's ending because Virgin gets so many transfer bonuses. And whenever I see a 30%, 40%, in my mind, I automatically think Hawaiian Air discounted fares. So now I have to kind of revisit that strategy and keep an eye out for something else.
Yeah, well, this is how I got here in the first place because I threw all my city points, I believe, into Virgin Atlantic during one of these transfer bonuses, 30%. I threw them all in there and they've just been sitting there for a while. So I'm glad that I'm finally using at least part of these for some flights on this new first class. Hawaii is a bucket list for a lot of people, and it's easy to see why, right? This is paradise, really. And so today we're going to break down how you can get to Hawaii using points and miles for your flights. Hawaii has 8 main islands, but there are 4 islands with major chain hotels and airports where you can fly in from the mainland, and that's Oahu, Maui, the Big Island, and Kauai. And honestly, you can't go wrong with any of them. They each have something unique. I personally like to pick based on whatever hotel or flight deal I find. One of the sweet spots to fly into Hawaii is actually using Turkish Airlines. You can book flights to Hawaii on United Airlines using only 10,000 Turkish miles one way in economy. And Serena will have a tutorial on how you can find these flights. Business class is possible too, but availability is tough to find. And you can transfer points into Turkish from Capital One, City, and Bilt. Another sweet spot is using British Airways Avios from the West Coast. You can book nonstop flights on American Airlines or Alaska from the West Coast, including airports like Anchorage, LA, Phoenix, Portland, San Diego, San Francisco, San Jose, or Seattle. And you can transfer points into British Airways from Chase, American Express, Capital One, and Bilt. Southwest Airlines. This used to be a very popular option due to no baggage fees or seat selection fees, but that's recently changed. You can always get a Southwest credit card to avoid some of those charges. But points with Southwest Airlines are tied to the cash fare, so there are no crazy sweet spots. The real value is when you earn the Southwest Companion Pass because you can have your companion fly for free. You can also book United Airlines flights using Singapore KrisFlyer miles. One-way economy starts at 19,500 miles each way, and business class starts at 39,000 miles. Another option is booking through Finnair. You can book Alaska flights starting at 13,500 avios each way, American flights starting at 15,000, with business class starting at 47,500 avios. You can book through Finnair's chat feature or call their US number. Remember that you can combine your British Airways avios with Finnair or Qatar. Now, if you want to fly Delta to Hawaii, you can book that flying Air France-KLM's Flying Blue program, starting at 17,500 miles each way in economy, and business class starting at 30,000 miles each way. We do have a Southwest Companion Guide PDF for you to download. Just look in the show notes. And we also have a Hawaii destination guide with some of this information. If you prefer to read it, just look in the show notes for the link. The first time I went to Hawaii, I actually flew on American Airlines from Phoenix to Maui in their business class because they had lie flat seats. So I went out of my way for this flight because even though it's only a 6-hour flight, I thought it was nice to take that flight. On my way back though, I did book using the Turkish Airlines sweet spot back when it was 7,500 miles. That was an economy from Maui to Denver on a red-eye flight. And it was a little rough because I had no window to lean on for me to sleep. I'm looking forward to my next one because I'll do the new Hawaiian Airlines first class. But Terry, what are your favorite flights in and out of Hawaii?
My favorite has to be Hawaiian Air. The experience starts when you're at the gate, actually, and then you see the agents. A lot of them, they're wearing flowers in their hair and their ears. And as soon as you step on board, you hear the Hawaiian music. And there's just that sense of aloha that permeates already before you even step foot on the island. So I think hands down, Hawaiian Air is the best way to get here.
Is it true, Terrence, that Hawaiian Air is the only U.S. carrier that will feed you in economy?
This is true. So I've flown Southwest to Hawaii. I've flown American to Hawaii and Alaska too. And everything has to either be pre-ordered or you purchase it on flight. On Hawaiian Air, they do come around with the snack cart and they hand out sandwiches most of the time for the economy cabin.
Very aloha.
Very aloha, yeah. I agree.
For my first big family trip to Hawaii, we were so excited. And this was the flight where we met Lucille. Oh. Remember this?
We do.
Yes. Lucille is the mascot for the San Francisco Giants, and he came onto our plane before we departed to say hi because there was a bunch of Giants fans on our plane. They were going on a Hawaii trip. This was on Alaska Airlines, and I used American Airlines miles to book that flight. But more recently to Hawaii, it was Thanksgiving of 2020. It was during COVID. The islands were empty. I loved it. We flew Southwest.
Did you have a companion pass?
I don't think we did. No, we didn't. But it was still very deeply discounted because not a lot of people were flying. Back then, you had to get a test before you boarded the plane. Remember those COVID tests?
I remember those times,
and
yeah.
I actually didn't get my test in time. And so I had to rebook it for the following day. It was great to have a Southwest flight booked at that time because it was very easy to cancel and rebook.
I hope they don't do away with that because, we saw them do away with free bags and now they're going to be giving you the option for seat selection instead of this open seating, which I'm not a fan of. Another good benefit that you have with Southwest Airlines is this free changes and cancellations where you can cancel up until, I want to say maybe even 15 minutes, but let's just say an hour before boarding and you get your points back or your travel voucher. But I think those are going to start putting expiration dates on. So Southwest is going downhill in my view. So let's hope that sticks around.
Yeah. Also family boarding. I really enjoyed that. And I hope that doesn't go away either.
Or travel between the islands. I actually prefer flying Southwest instead of Hawaiian. The locals here, they love Hawaiian Air. So you're flying on a busier flight. There's a lot more people that you're kind of fighting with, overhead storage space. Whereas Southwest, it's maybe a quarter full to 50% full most of the time. So many times you're getting empty seats, empty rows, and it's just a lot more comfortable for those inter-island flights. And it's 20 minutes at the most. Just the extra space and comfort really makes a difference.
That is a great tip. I never really thought about that, but we're just talking about traveling during the pandemic when there was not a lot of travel and a lot of these flights were half empty or 90% empty. So if they have 50% empty flights, inter-island flights on Southwest, maybe I'll book one of those.
Since 2023, I believe every single inter-island flight we've taken, it has always been on Southwest. And it's just a lot more easier to travel. And the leg space, I feel like on Southwest, it's a lot more roomier than it is with Hawaiian.
So Miguel, that's interesting. You're 2 weeks out from that trip and you're still needing to book some stuff, huh?
Yeah, of course. I don't have my hotel yet, but I have a backup flight to go back home. So I'm hoping something better opens up, but if not, I'm good with my backup flight. That's the main thing. And my backup flight to go back home, it is on Hawaiian nonstop to Seattle, and it's an economy, but I booked that using my Alaska miles, which should be refundable. So if I find something better in business class or their new first class, I will do it. But if not, I'm okay with the economy because it's nonstop back to Seattle where I'll be spending some time anyway.
Okay, now we're going to go over the best ways to book your award flights to Hawaii. And first I'm going to cover economy because I actually don't mind flying economy to Hawaii because it's only 6 hours from the West Coast. So we'll start there. In economy, one way from the West Coast, you have Hawaiian Airlines. And examples are from SFO and LAX. You can use 10,000 Alaska miles. And you can find these seats with Seats.aero. You can also fly United Airlines from SFO and LAX, for example, for 16,000 United miles. And you can use the United Award Calendar to find those seats. But the better way to book this is with Turkish miles for only 10,000 miles. And I'll go over how to find that in a little bit. For Southwest, you can even fly from the smaller airports, like here in the Bay Area, we have Oakland and San Jose, and you can even fly out of Long Beach in Southern California for as low as 8,000 points one way. But Southwest can price these flights for as high as 80,000 points one way during peak season. So the good thing to do is to shop around. Flying to Hawaii from the West Coast is easy because it's only 6 hours. But what if you're on the East Coast? That's a long flight. It's an 11-hour flight. So we'll go over some nonstop options for East Coasters. From Boston to Honolulu, you can fly nonstop on Hawaiian, and in economy, that will cost 27,000 Hawaiian miles. If you're okay connecting, you can fly on Alaska Airlines for 20,000 Alaska miles. From JFK to Honolulu nonstop, you can fly Hawaiian for 35,000 American miles or 35,000 Alaska miles. You can also fly Delta for 33,000 miles. And if you're willing to connect from JFK to Honolulu, you can find award seats for as low as 25,000 American airline miles. And then from IAD Washington Dulles or Newark EWR, you can fly nonstop on United for as little as 25,000 United miles. Instead of booking that United flight for 25,000 United miles, you'll want to find that flight on Turkish's website to book with only 10,000 miles. And 10,000 miles one way for an 11-hour flight, that is a steal. And this is how you would find those flights. So you want to start on the United website. Click Advanced, check Miles, and let's say I'm searching from Newark, EWR to Honolulu. Check Nonstop, choose flexible dates, and then I'll choose the month of December. And then you'll click Find Flights. You'll see an award calendar. You'll want to click on a date with 25,000, which is the Saver Level Award. And for this flight right here, you'll want to check that it says Saver Award and the United Economy code is X. Note the date, and now we're going to go search this up on Turkish's website. When you log into Turkish, you'll need to go to the drop-down under your name and choose Miles Transactions. Click on Star Alliance Award Ticket, put in the route and the date you found on the United site, and here is that same flight for 10,000 Turkish miles. Now let's say you want to live a little higher on the hog and you want to fly in business class like what Miguel is doing with his family. Here are some options for booking business class. You can fly one-way in business class on American Airlines using 35,000 Alaska miles. And this is actually considered a first-class flight, but it's just a recliner seat, nothing fancy. On Hawaiian Airlines, you can use 40,000 Alaska miles or 40,000 Hawaiian miles. And of course, the best deal for flying business class to Hawaii is finding those United flights for only 15,000 Turkish miles. But as Miguel said earlier, they are so hard to find. As of this recording date, I couldn't find any date. There are also other flights to consider, like to Kauai, Maui, and the Big Island, but these are just some examples to give you a starting point of how many miles you might need to save for your trip to Hawaii.
Serena, you briefly touched on how some of these first class or business class flights to Hawaii don't have the lay flat seats. So there is a way for you to confirm what kind of aircraft you're on, because you might be thinking you're booking one of these great flights in business class to Hawaii, and then you find out it's just a recliner and not a lie flat seat. So some of the routes that will have these are the longer routes. So if you're flying on United all the way to Chicago or Newark or Washington Dulles, Hawaiian Airlines, if you're flying out of Honolulu and Maui is where I've seen them have their A330 or their Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Those are the ones that will have the lay flat seats. If you're on an A321, you're just going to have a recliner seat. So you can just go on Google Flights to verify what aircraft you're flying for your particular date and time, verify whether or not you have a lie flat seat.
Another note on the, especially for United, they have one of those first class configuration or business class configurations where part of it faces, you're kind of like looking at each other. And it's it's a 2-4-2.
Yes.
That layout is not ideal. You won't know unless you open up the seat map. I would personally stay away from those flights. I'd pick the recliner actually over that seat.
Would you really?
Yeah, I would.
Mitch, you wouldn't? You're okay staring at a stranger?
I mean, it's lie flat or recliner, right? So I want to be flat over the Pacific. I think I would go for the looking at the other person.
Even if it's halfway over the Pacific.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Terrence. And I think the United website is very good at displaying the seat map for you when you're doing a search. So I love that about their site. You can see right away what the seat layout looks like.
Yeah, you could do a mock booking for your intended travel dates, and they have this 360 view of the seat map. And yeah, that's pretty great that United has that. Also, United has a great app as far as when you're traveling is unmatched for at least by the big US carriers.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best apps out there, to be honest.
All right. So I know a lot of people, when they visit Hawaii, they can't decide on which island to visit or if they have enough time to check out multiple islands at once. My suggestion is that spend at least 4 to 5 days in one location before you decide to change hotels or even change islands. The commute between islands isn't as difficult or isn't as hard because I'd say it's about 2 hours tops commute time, but the trade-off is that you'll get to experience a completely different island. Each island has its own attributes, has its own different personality. So if you could make that trip out here to the Pacific and be able to squeeze into islands, that'll be a great way of seeing the islands.
Okay, here's a bonus tip. You might want to think about pairing your vacation to Hawaii with a trip to Japan. I've been finding on Seats.aero that there is a lot more award availability from Hawaii to Japan versus mainland USA to Japan. So you might want to think about that and use Seats.aero to find your award availability.
Welcome to our online community, Elevate. Here's everything you can look forward to when you join.
First, you'll unlock access to our video classroom with over 4 hours of videos led by us. These are designed to help you level up your strategy from earning points to getting business credit cards and even how to redeem for maximum value. We cover it all. We'll even walk you through real life examples of how we've used points and miles ourselves.
You'll learn our top tips, tricks, and strategies for using credit card rewards to travel for free. Whether that's flights, hotel stays, or luxury upgrades, we show you exactly how to choose the right cards, time your applications, and take advantage of the best offers available.
You'll also get downloadable resources like templates, cheat sheets, and guides, covering everything from earning elite status to navigating flight redemptions and more.
Our best feature is our private community chat. This is where the best daily deals are shared, including mistake fares, flash promos, and hidden opportunities. You'll learn from us and other members, our wins and mistakes, and stay ahead of what's working right now in the Points of Miles world.
And finally, each month we host our exclusive Elevate Masterclass. This is a live session where our community comes together to share updates, data points, and the latest strategies we're all working on.
We're excited to welcome you to Elevate,
your next level journey in Points and Miles.
And it all starts right here.
Okay, in true Miguel fashion, he's leaving in a few weeks for Hawaii, and I'm betting he doesn't have any hotels booked. Am I right?
You're right. I have not made up my mind on what I want to book. I have been looking at mostly the points options, but I'm also looking at some of these other hotels that are available through a travel advisor because they'll come with perks like free breakfast, property credit, upgrades if available, that type of thing. Sometimes there's options, boutique hotels that are not found within the big chains that could make sense. I mean, I'm even looking at Aulani, the Disney resort. There's a way people rent like these DVC points or something, but if you're paying cash, there's a way for you to save money on Disney resorts. And in Oahu, they have a Aulani Disney resort. So I'm even looking at that option. For a lot of these deals, you know, they're usually found when they're close in. So maybe that's why I don't plan that far ahead, because I want to get these good deals close in. If you haven't heard about the DVC point rentals for Disney properties, or if you have, but you want to learn more and you want us to bring somebody on the show that knows more about these points, let us know in the comments. Taryn, I know you have a lot of experience in the hospitality industry, and being from Hawaii, I'm sure that you have a lot of great insight on the best hotels or the popular hotels or the good deals in Hawaii. So please let us know, what advice do you have as far as hotels in Hawaii?
All right. So if you're looking to stay in Waikiki, I have two great point options. The first is bookable with the Marriott Bonvoy Point. It is the Lalo Autograph Collection Hotel. Now, if you are looking for a beachfront resort experience, this wouldn't be it. This would be your boutique hotel. It sits a couple blocks away from the beach, but the great thing about Waikiki is it doesn't really matter where you are in Waikiki because you can easily walk there within 10 minutes. The Lalo has this fun mid-century chic vibe. It's got a great open bar called The Hideout that just looks over the busy street. It's next to the International Marketplace, and it actually looks dead on to Marugame Udon, which is a popular shop. If you are familiar with ramen and udon, the Lalo is where you want to be because it's literally right across the street. For someone looking to stay on the beach, my new favorite Waikiki oceanfront hotel is the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. And it's not new by any means because it's coming up on 100 years since they've opened. I think in 2027 is when they celebrate their 100 years. But it's got this great garden vibe and it's very misleading because the location is probably the best in Waikiki, but it's surrounded by these gardens. You have no idea that there are these skyscrapers and hotels all around you just because the vibe there is just so peaceful. It's got the best stretch of beach in all of the oceanfront hotels. Also bookable with the Marriott Bonvoy Points. Definitely worth splurging on the 5 nights to take advantage of the 5th night free. This would definitely be one of those that I would book with the TA if you are looking to pay for a cash fare. With a Marriott Stars travel advisor, in addition to the breakfast and the upgrade and the $100 resort credit, this hotel offers to waive the resort fees. That'll cut off $52 a night throughout your stay.
Wow, that is great. And if I'm not mistaken, you're a travel advisor. So if somebody was looking for a cash rate anywhere, not just in Hawaii, you could help them with that rate.
Oh, absolutely. I specialize in Hawaii travel, but I can book hotel rates anywhere across the globe.
I think I am sold on when you said ramen.
I knew he would be.
And I'm not lying when I'm telling you that Lalo was pretty much at the top of my list right now. So I've been looking at the Lalo. I also looked at, I don't know if it's a Courtyard or something in the North Shore. I was looking primarily at Marriott properties. Those two were kind of on top of my list. So when you said ramen, I don't know. I think it might have to be the Lalo.
There's also in the International Marketplace, there's a Japanese supermarket. If you walk in there, it'll feel like you're walking in Japan, really. So I was there maybe 2 weeks ago and I just got done watching your episode in Japan. And so I thought in my mind, Miguel would love this place.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to go to Japan, but then I found these flights to Hawaii. So this is kind of like the best of both worlds, I guess, right? So I get to kind of do both.
It is.
And if I follow Serena's tip, maybe I can tack on a quick trip to Japan. I would not mind going to Japan, even if it was for a day. So maybe I can do another side trip from my side trip and go to Tokyo for a quick day or two. But with the international market, that might suffice. I saw that there's also a Don Quixote there, right?
So they actually opened up a brand new Donkey on the west side. So if we pivot to the west side of Oahu where the Ko'olina Resort area is, this is where Aulani is located, the Four Seasons and the Marriott Vacations Club. Don Quixote or Donkey is about maybe 15 minutes from there. Also feels like you've been transported into Japan. So they just opened up about a month ago or so.
You mentioned Four Seasons and I saw that Serena got excited. So I think she's been wanting to check out one of those Four Seasons.
So I specifically wanted to check out the Four Seasons in Lanai, but I've been to that Ko'olina area because we've stayed at Aulani before and I love it there.
I love the Ko'olina Resort area too. It's just so peaceful and quiet, even though the lagoons are man-made, but it's just perfect for families with little kids because you don't have these waves that are just crashing right onto the shoreline. But it's beautiful. Sunsets are amazing there. For anyone that's visiting Oahu, my hot tip is to always spend 5 nights in Waikiki, then hop over to the west side for at least 2 nights. That way, when you go back home, you're ready to take on reality.
That is exactly what we did. We did 5 nights at the Embassy Suites, Waikiki Beach. Embassy Suites is great because they also have a manager's reception with live music. And from the roof, you can also see the fireworks. I don't know if they still do the fireworks on Friday nights on the beach. Do they still do that outside of the Hilton?
They did stop it for a while. It was one of those COVID things that just kind of went away when tourism was down. And now that it's slowly picking up, they did bring back the fireworks.
That's great. We were able to watch the fireworks from the rooftop of the Embassy Suites. And then after 5 nights, we moved to Aulani for 3 nights. And so that is the perfect setup. And it was a great way to end our stay with a relaxing beach vacation.
Serena, I have a question. Did this trip take over New Year's? Because it seems to be a theme with you watching fireworks on New Year's Eve.
It was not New Year's. So the fireworks on the beach, they're not New Year's caliber fireworks. The ones that they have on Friday nights, they're muted.
That's a nice way of putting it. It's not this grand celebration, more just to light up the night sky, I guess. It's more impressive if you're not expecting it. And that way, when it goes off, oh, wow, look, that's really nice. Instead of setting up a blanket at the beach and laying there waiting to watch it, then that's kind of where, you might be a little disappointed. But we'll keep it as a delighter than something you pencil into your itinerary. So back to Aulani, because it's Disney, it's difficult to book with points unless you're going into the Capital One and then using that to wipe off the cost of the room. When we do stay there, I look at it as more of a opportunity to earn points. That's me going over to the Office Max, picking up Disney gift cards, and then earning points that way to get the 5X instead of the 3.
Okay, so Terrence, can you talk us through that step-by-step process? So you're going to Office Max with your Chase Ink cash card, right? You're buying gift cards, and then what are you doing with those gift cards?
So I'm buying them in $200 increments, and I'm taking that with me to Aulani and using that as my method of payment. Points and miles is all about maximizing both your redemptions and also your earnings. So I would take the gift cards, apply it to the room rate. So when I'm checking out, I'm paying my room using the gift cards and not my Chase Sapphire.
Can you book Aulani through a travel advisor?
So a lot of people use travel advisors for Disney properties because they can help you out with booking your dining. But as far as perks, most of them do not offer the breakfast and the credit and the upgrades and things of that sort. A lot of people that would use a travel agency is mostly because they have a relationship with them that's helped them with previous bookings, and it's more of a convenience than it is getting extras on top of it.
Okay, Miguel, you got another vote for me for that lay low property. You're going to love that. I think that's where you need to stay. Now, when you get tired of the Japanese stuff, they got a Duke's downstairs. So
now I won't get tired of the Japanese stuff. Don't worry.
My other advice, though, for hotels in Oahu and, Hawaii pretty much in general is my goal is to first book a Hyatt and then a Hilton, because I think the resort fees in Hawaii, they're some of the highest that I've seen. We've been to Oahu a couple times over the years. We've done a lot of properties around there. We've done the Marriott, we've done the Hyatt, we've done the Hilton. And I'm going to say, I think the best way when it comes to saving some money when you are in Waikiki with those properties is if you have Hyatt Globalist status and you book an award stay, I think you're going to beat a lot of those extra charges that you're going to come into, because that's exactly what we did. Probably going to need to rent a car. Parking in Waikiki, it's not cheap at all. So if you make an award booking with Hyatt and you have the status, there's no resort fees, there's no parking fees, and that's really going to add up. I think it could save you somewhere, depending on the length of your stay, between $500 to $1,000. So there is a lot of value with Hyatt in Hawaii, I think.
Yeah, Hyatt, especially the Hyatt Regency in Waikiki, is a very popular points property for families. And notably because they have a club lounge. So a lot of people like to have some afternoon snacks or even make it a dinner in the club lounge for after a beach day. So that's a good option for families. Here are some other points properties that you might want to take a look at as well. The Hyatt Regency Waikiki and the Hyatt Centric are 20,000 points per night. The Hyatt Place Waikiki is 15,000 points per night. For Hilton, the Hawaiian Village Beach is 70,000 points, and there's an LXR for 110,000 points per night. And then the Embassy Suites Waikiki that I stayed at is 70,000 points per night. For Marriott, newly added is the Ritz-Carlton Turtle Bay, which starts at 90,000 points per night. For IHG, there's also a Holiday Inn in Oahu, and that is 40,000 points per night. We have a lot of options for points properties on Oahu. Now let's talk about Maui. Terrence, what are your favorite properties on Maui?
Just before the new year, I took my wife and my youngest son, and we had a weekend on Maui, where we spent 2 nights at the Grand Wailea and a night at the Ritz-Carlton Kapalua. It was an entirely free weekend. We flew points on Southwest. Since both P2 and I have the Hilton business card, when we signed up for it, we had a free night certificate. So we each got one. We each booked the night under our names, and then I had a free night at the Ritz-Carlton. I know I was able to use my certificate there, and I really enjoyed it. Grand Wailea gets a lot of flack because it's a Waldorf Astoria brand. It doesn't really quite doesn't feel like the rest of the Waldorf Astorias as far as luxury is concerned and the hard product and the refined service. It's very laid back, very kid friendly, especially during the breaks. So you have a lot of families running around. When we went in September, it was actually not that bad. The rooms are recently renovated. We had a 2-queen room and it was nice and spacious. The bathroom is pretty large as well. And the star of the hotel is the pool complex. They have a slide and it whips you down that thing pretty fast. I was impressed. And even I, as a 42-year-old dad with my son, I'm the one that's encouraging him to go back up for another round or two, so that was pretty fun. And he had a blast on that one too. So for the pool complex, definitely recommend the Grand Waileau.
Yeah, I hear that water park is so fun and I've always wanted to go. But the thing that was holding me back is I kept hearing complaints that the rooms are so outdated, but I'm so happy to hear that they've been renovated. So that's great news.
And I was surprised with it too, just kind of hearing everything about it and not ever being in the resort. So when we walked in, both my wife and I were surprised at how everything was nicely done. We were, right on the gardens, on the ground floor. We could easily walk to the pool area and the pool is right next to the beach. There's a swim up bar for adults and just kind of the way that the whole pool complex is laid out. You could start up from one pool and take a little slide to the next one and then mosey over down to the next slide. So it's pretty cool.
I hear there's a water elevator there too. I don't know what that is, but
maybe that's what that is.
Have you heard of that?
Maybe I went on it not knowing it was called the water elevator.
A couple years ago, we went to Maui and I think I paid 25,000 points per night. I did use a suite upgrade award to get in. I don't know if it was ocean view or ocean front, but I saved a lot of money with that. I think for a week, I paid 175,000 points, but I looked up at the cash rate and the cash rate for the room that we had for a week was like $14,000. I mean, it was one of my biggest wins with Hyatt, I think. The hotel was nice. It's right on the beach and we loved it. We had a great time. I was a little disappointed with the breakfast. It was in the club lounge and they didn't have an extensive selection, but hey, it was still free. The kids loved the hot chocolate and that's, sometimes they'll get cereal. So whatever. It was fine. And you can actually access the same breakfast if you have club access. So whether you use a club access award or if you book into a club room, it's the same breakfast as if you were a globalist. So that's one of the properties where I would say you can use a club access awards if somebody can gift you one of those because it's the same breakfast.
Doesn't that property have animals?
They have penguins. They have different birds. Yeah. What else do they have? I don't know if they think they have flamingos. Those are pretty nice property.
So I spent my second baby moon on Maui. We had a great time. So this is a long time ago. My baby is now 9. She's going to be 10. So 10 years ago. Back then, Hyatt was called Hyatt Passport. Do you remember this?
I do. We were Diamond, I believe, at the time. That's what it was, right? Diamond?
Yeah. And then when you got their card, you got 2 free nights at any property. Of course, me and P2, we each get a card. So we got 4 free nights. So I used them at the Andaz Maui and
I knew you were going to say Andaz.
Fantastic free stay. It's been a long time since I've been there. It's still a very, very, very popular property. My daughter loved it. She was 3, 4 at the time.
That's like 40,000 points a night right now?
Yes.
It's hard to find availability too.
Very hard.
Did your oldest daughter at the time, she really enjoyed that place, right?
She did. She loved it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I also see the posts in our Elevate group where people were saying, what are some of the best ways to find that availability at the Andaz in Maui? Because it is a hugely popular property and I think it's a great one too. And the best way to do that is to use our partner, MaxMyPoint.com. Now, what's great about this is you can go in there and you can set alerts and you're going to get text messages and you're also going to get emails as well because the availability for this property, it's pretty scarce and it's hard to find. So definitely recommend MaxMyPoint.com if you're looking for that availability at the Andaz in Maui.
Here's a list of some of the points properties you might want to look at on Maui. For Hyatt, the Andaz Maui is 40,000 points a night. The Hana Maui is 30,000 points. And the Hyatt Regency, where Miguel stayed, is 25,000 points. For Hilton, the Grand Wailea that Terrence stayed at is 120,000 points per night, or you can use a free night certificate like he did. For Marriott, there are multiple properties and they start as little as 50,000 points per night, and the Ritz-Carlton costs 70,000 points per night. Okay, now let's cover Kauai. Terrence, what are your recommendations for this island?
So I know everyone loves the Grand Hyatt in Kauai. I have not stayed there personally. The one hotel that we did stay at is the Koloa Landing, which is also a Marriott. This hotel almost every year gets rated in the top 20 of hotel pools across America. So definitely check that place out if you plan on spending a lot of your afternoons in the pool. What I do like about it, because when we stayed there, we traveled with a family of 8, and they have 3-bedroom apartments or villas, fully decked kitchen, washer, dryer, I think 2 ensuite bathrooms, and there was a separate bathroom as well. So lots of space, very comfortable property for anyone who wants to stay in the south of Kauai.
Now, another option I think is pretty good if you're into Marriott points is the Sheraton Kauai. The location, it's pretty much on the beach, so you get a beautiful view, and it's near some restaurants in that area as well. I know it's a little pricey. It goes anywhere around the 80,000 point range. So if you got one of those certificates from those higher end Marriott cards, it might be a good option for you to burn them. But if you need a Marriott option on the island, I think it's pretty good, the Sheraton.
So I've stayed at the Grand Hyatt Kauai, and this was during COVID. It was so empty. There must have been just a few people there aside from us. And I actually loved it because it was so empty. Nowadays, I think you'll find it to be very crowded. But like Terrence said, it's also very popular because it's one of the few points property options on the island. And it also has a club lounge. So you can use a club access award to access the club lounge during your stay. So the Grand Hyatt Kauai cost 40,000 points per night. Another points option is the Hilton Garden Inn in Kauai. And I've actually stayed at this one too. This is 60,000 points per night. And another Marriott option is the Kauai Beach Club, which also starts at 60,000 points per night.
And now to the Big Island. So the Big Island is my least favorite island.
Oh, tell us.
Yeah, my least favorite hotel, I should say. Maybe not the island, but my least favorite hotel was on the Big Island, and that I booked on points. We stayed at the Courtyard there, and it was my least favorite hotel stay within the last 2 years. Part of it is because of the beach itself. There's a small beach in front of the hotel, and I'm coming from Waikiki where the stretch of beach is a lot larger, and I've been to Maui where it's a lot of sandy stretches of beach, and just this small plot in front of the Courtyard. You have all of these families that are just crammed there, and it just doesn't make for a great beach experience. The room itself, it smelled of paint, and the bathtub, it's not leveled with the ground. When you step into the bathtub, you find yourself elevated a few inches higher, and then when you come down, you kind of bend your knees because the floor isn't even, I should say. I just thought to myself, if I was a guest flying from the West Coast or flying from the mainland, and this is my Hawaii experience that I've been saving all my points for, and this is the hotel that I'm checking into, I'd be disappointed, honestly. But then again, you know, in hindsight, if somebody's coming from cornfields and that's all they see, and they come to that Courtyard and they're happy with that stretch of beach, then maybe, yes, you know, for that guest, they might enjoy it, actually. I guess one thing to keep in mind also is that when you're on the Big Island, or when you're in Hawaii in general, you're there for the sights and for the nature. And a lot of times people are there just for a place to sleep at the end of the day. If you're out exploring the lava fields, going on hikes and beaches outside of the hotel, wonderful. Come in with the expectation that it's a place to sleep at the end of the day.
So I'm not in cornfields, but I live in the desert. If the Courtyard is where I'm staying, but I get to go out and explore the beautiful land and volcanoes and tropical paradise, then I'll be okay with it, you know. Escape from the desert for a bit.
I will say that points at that property is pretty reasonable. I think when we booked it was maybe $33,000 a night. It was one of those hotels where I would monitor, you know, week after week, and they just got cheaper and cheaper. So I think it started at maybe 38 or so, and then as we got closer, it ended up being around 30,000 for the night.
I have been to the Big Island a few times with friends, but I actually want to bring my family back because there are some things that I would like to do with my girls on the island. But where I would like to take them is the Hilton Waikoloa Village. That's where we would want to stay if we were to go back. The Hilton Waikoloa Village is a humongous complex, from what I hear, that you need a tram to go from place to place. That cost 80,000 Hilton points a night. Another property I've been to on the Big Island is the Mauna Kea, which is an autograph collection hotel, and that is using 80,000 Marriott points per night. Keep in mind, with all these islands that we've discussed, there's also an option to use Wyndham points for Vacasa vacation rentals. And that is a good option for you, especially when you're traveling with a big family and you need a washer and dryer and a full kitchen.
If you don't have Wyndham Rewards points, you could transfer Capital One Venture Miles or City Thank You points into your Wyndham account, and then you can book Vacasa rentals, which are kind of like Airbnbs, like houses. And those rates start at about 15,000 points per night for a one bedroom. Now, some of these one bedroom places can actually fit, family of 3 or 4. So it's a good option to research if you're going to Hawaii.
I have been to the 4 main islands, but there's one more that I'd like to visit one day, and that's Lanai. I hear that there are 2 Four Seasons on that island. Terrence, do you know much about this island and those properties?
Lanai is one of the smaller main islands in Hawaii, and it's home to 2 of the most luxurious properties across the state, and that's Four Seasons. They have Four Seasons Lanai and Sensei Four Seasons. It's for the, I don't want to.
It's for the rich white people.
Yeah.
Larry Ellison's friends.
Exactly. I haven't booked anybody there yet. I can't speak to the property itself or any of the properties itself, but you have Sensei, which is focused on wellness, and then you have the other Four Seasons Lanai. It's pretty ultra luxury. Not many locals go there, none of my friends and family at least, but it is home to the Four Seasons Lanai and Sensei.
So would booking through a travel advisor be a good option if people wanted to book these Four Seasons resorts?
Especially with the Four Seasons. For those into points and miles, we have the Amex FHR program that we kind of leverage that $200 FHR credit. But with the Four Seasons brand itself, booking through the TA will get you the best option for breakfast, and it'll also get you priority upgrades over the Amex FHR. For example, a lot of the Four Seasons in Hawaii, if you book through FHR, you're getting continental breakfast, but if you book it through a Four Seasons preferred partner, you get a better breakfast offering.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you do.
So Hawaii is a very popular destination, and I know we discussed a lot of hotels. If you're looking for tips and tricks for how to book or specific properties that you're looking at or some in-depth information, you want to join our Elevate group because we have a lot of discussion about that. Check out the show notes below for a link on how to register for our Elevate community. We would love to have you.
We are now at that favorite part of the show where Miguel comes to life. We're going to be talking about food. So, Taryn, what's some of the favorite things to eat and do in Hawaii?
Oh my gosh. I don't think I'm biased when I say that Hawaii has the best food. A lot of our flavors are Asian influence. The cultures here are so diverse, so it literally is a melting pot of flavors really from across Asia that Hawaii just does so well, and you can't really find anywhere else. We are home to the poke bowl. That is one of my top 3 local dishes, and it just makes for the perfect poolside snack or meal, if you would. Don't knock Foodland. Foodland is a grocery store, locally owned store. You know it's good because you see all the construction workers, you see all the local families. Prices of poke have gone up considerably, and so most of us will be eating the previously frozen type, but it's still delicious. Definitely try the California poke bowl with crab meat and avocado.
That sounds good.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, that Foodland tip, that is the best tip because that is the greatest place to get poke, I think, anywhere in Hawaii, because they've got a couple of different grocery stores over all the islands, and they all have those little delis where you can go back there and they make it fresh. I think that is the best place to get it, is at Foodland. So I agree with you.
I'm taking notes. Foodland it is.
There's a Foodland just outside of Waikiki. It's within the Ala Moana Center, so it's maybe 5-10 minutes. Kind of like a Whole Foods in a way, where they have hot foods. They have the food bar where you go and they'll measure it, by weight. There's bento boxes, all kinds of sandwiches. So it's skip the hotel food and just stop by Foodland and just load up for the day.
And different varieties of poke options, right?
Tons.
In the deli, yeah.
In the deli.
Because I remember stopping at a Foodland on the way to Aulani. We stocked up on stuff as well. So this is why you need a car, Miguel.
Yeah, I guess I need to rent a car.
Absolutely agree, especially if you're on the outer islands, because everything is so spread out. If you're visiting on Maui, Big Island, or Kauai, you definitely need a rental car because you're driving 45 minutes to an hour. Even within the resort area itself, it's so far apart where if you don't have a car, you're calling a taxi or an Uber to get around. In Waikiki, parking is expensive. You can get away with maybe doing an Uber while you're within Waikiki, but if you're looking to head out to the North Shore, if you're going out to Kailua, if you're going out to the west side and really seeing the island and everything it has to offer, you'll definitely need a rental car. If you're staying at Aulani, if you're going to the North Shore, it's an absolute must as well. Another food item that's synonymous with Hawaii is the shave ice. And notice I say shave and not shaved.
I was going to comment on that.
Shaved ice is what you find with chunky ice crystals. In Hawaii, if it's chunky, it's not proper. It's not proper shaved ice. The syrup doesn't go all the way through to the bottom, then it's not properly done as well. On Maui, I really like Ululani's shave ice. Granted, they just opened one in Waikiki, I think, a couple years ago, so they have a few on each of the islands. But the classic favorite on Oahu is Waiola. They have a location just outside of Waikiki, so have that on your list as far as shave ice, Waiola and Ululani. A lot of people talk about Matsumoto on the North Shore. My hot tip is it's not worth it. Don't stand in that line. Get your shave ice fix from Waiola instead and spend your time on the North Shore doing something else.
Great tips. What is your favorite shave ice toppings?
I am a condensed milk person, so we call it snowcap. And then if I go citrus, I'll add the lihimui powder on it too. So usually I'll do like a mango, pineapple, and lilikoi combo, and then top it off with lihimui powder and snowcap.
Love it. It's shave ice, Mitch. Shave ice.
So I know most people, when they come to Hawaii, they already have Leonard's also on their list to visit. So Leonard's does have a location outside of Waikiki as well. It's their flagship store. But they also have these satellite food trucks, and it's the exact same malasada. Like, it doesn't taste any different. So if you don't want to wait in lines there and you're driving out to Aulani, stop by the Leonard's Malasada's food truck in Waikele. It's on the way to Aulani anyway. So
I love malasadas. So Terrence, your favorite malasada filling?
Favorite is custard. I'm a custard guy. Yeah. I'll pound 3 custards and then one haupia. So, but without the sugar. I don't like the sugar because it gets everywhere. So I'll ask for it plain. I can easily put away 4.
Oh my gosh, this is making me want to go to Hawaii now.
You should come over with Miguel.
I've got 2 weeks to plan. So Terrence, one of my memorable food experiences was at the Alley, Aiea. Am I saying it right?
So Aiea, it's spelled A-I-E-A. It's all vowels. It'll be mispronounced by everyone if you're not from here. It's a bowling alley. Did you get the lemon?
I got the oxtail soup.
The oxtail soup.
With the ramen. Oh, yeah. So good.
They're definitely known for that. But they're also known for the lemon crunch cake. That's your signature dessert. How'd you find out about it anyway?
So I have a crazy friend who loves going to Hawaii, and she has a spreadsheet of all these foods that I need to try when I go.
I need that.
I will send it to you, Miguel. It's crazy. She goes for food. She doesn't do anything else there.
It's easy to pick up an extra 10 pounds if you come here. Like, forget the beach. You know, you're going to be showing off your food belly for sure. Everything is loaded with rice, with sauce, endless options for sure.
Yeah, that all sounds great. Serena, I need a copy of that spreadsheet. Last time I went, I did try the shave ice, but this time it looks like I have my week itinerary full of all these food places that I need to hit up. I did try last time I went, I had Moco Loco, so I tried that as well.
Loco Moco.
Oh, what is it?
You said Moco Loco.
Moco Loco?
No, Loco
Moco. Loco Moco.
Last time I went, I did try the Loco Moco. That was pretty good as well. It did have the rice, so I get what you're saying. I'm probably going to add a few pounds as well.
Did you have it with extra gravy?
No, I didn't know. I just asked for Loco Moco and I had the standard, I guess. Now, maybe I'll have some insider tips on how to order some of these dishes like a local. Like a loco.
So Terrence, extra gravy. We need to ask for that. Okay.
Ask for extra gravy.
Now let's discuss some of the activities, because if you don't want to add these many pounds, you need to maybe do some activities. I know hiking is a big thing in Hawaii. So other than hiking, let's talk about what other things people like to do. What are the must-dos for activities? When I went to Maui, the thing on the top of my list was doing the road to Hana, and my family really enjoyed that. But what other activities is there to do across Hawaii, Terrence?
I'm thinking people are coming to Hawaii for the beaches and for the natural landscape. Being that Hawaii is so unique, we're volcanic islands. Checking out Haleakala on Maui is definitely a must-do. You have a lot of people going up there to watch the sunrise. Just to drive up, I think if you go in the daytime, you're driving above the clouds, you're looking out to the volcano or to the mountain itself, and it feels like you're on Mars, really, just the way that the landscape is laid out. And just being at the top there, looking out into the crater, it's pretty pretty amazing. I'm a big nature person. So on Kauai, if you're going there, an absolutely must do is a Nepali coastline. If you do it via helicopter or if you do it by boat, there are a bunch of different charters that take you out in the evening. A lot of them come with dinner included. You'll see the dolphins that kind of lead the boats out. It's just so mesmerizing looking at the cliffs and the mountains. And I would rank it top 3, Monument Valley, Grand Canyon, and the Nepali coastline as far as natural wonders.
I think Hawaii is just beautiful in general, and there's so much to do and see, especially if you leave the touristy places like Waikiki. So I need to add this activity of the sunrise, but I think you do need to make a reservation. Is that right?
For the sunrise portion, you do need a reservation, but if you go up during the day, you can just drive up and purchase the admission as you go up the mountain. Every time I've done it, actually during the daytime, just because most people stay in Wailea or Lahaina, Kapalua, and it's a few hours to get to the top, which means you're driving at 2:30 in the morning to go watch the sunrise. If you're traveling with kids, which I do, I let them sleep, and then we go up in the middle of the day, and it's just as gorgeous. And like I said, when you're going in the day, you're driving and you're seeing the clouds that you're actually above, and you're driving, and all you see is this road, this mountainside, and just nothing to your left. It's pretty surreal. Would sleep in a couple extra hours and take a drive up in the daytime.
That's a great point, because I always thought you had to wake up early for an activity like that, and it's nice to know that you don't need to. Just go during the day.
One of my favorite things to do on Oahu is hiking, and we have some of the most amazing trails, so many different types for all ages. If you're traveling with families on Oahu, one of the most popular hikes is the Makapu'u Lighthouse. Reason being is that it's paved all the way up to the top. So if you're taking your 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds or even 5-year-olds that might not be able to make it up to the top, throw them in the stroller, push them up, and at least you're getting your cardio in. The views at the top are fantastic. For a hike that is completely out of the way, I would suggest the Kaena Point Trail. Kaena Point is the most western point of the island. So if you're staying in Aulani or any of the Ko'olina resorts, it's about maybe 40 minutes or so from there. It takes you out to the westernmost point of the island, and you see sand dunes, you see nesting birds. When we did the hike with my family, we even saw seals that were in the rocks. And there's also a historical or cultural importance of Kaena Point, being that's where the spirits will leave the island, or they would join the afterlife. You can access it coming from the west side, or you can access it from the north shore. But definitely look into Kaena Point if you want something a little bit less traveled.
I love that. And I've done that lighthouse trail with my kids, and it was very manageable. I love how it was paved the whole time. And we did it with a stroller.
So the biggest thing about both hikes really is that you're exposed to the elements. So you're not hiking through a rainforest or anything with tree cover. So you'll have to load up with sunscreen, have your shades, have your hats, because the sun can be pretty harsh.
All right, Taryn, I really like how you highlighted the beaches, because I just want to mention 2 things real quick. My favorite beach on Oahu, and I'm going to need your help with this because I'm going to butcher it, is Waimanalo.
Waimanalo, you nailed it, yes.
All right, so if you leave Waikiki Beach, you go southeast, you wrap around a little bit, it's right there. It's one of my favorite beaches. It's beautiful because there's not a lot of people there, and it's kind of a local beach, right?
It is a local spot, and you can actually pair it nicely with the Makapu'u Lighthouse trail hike. You can go there for a hike and then cool off at the beach. It is mostly locals. With Hawaii travel, there's this big ask. When you visit, you do it respectfully. And Waimanalo Beach being one that is populated by locals, you just come in the right mindset, showing aloha, and then you just get aloha right back.
Yeah, that's a good tip, because every time I've gone there, everyone's been so nice, and we've just been really respectful. So it's one of my favorite places because the sand is really nice and the water is great there too. Good location. And my second favorite thing about Hawaii, I don't know if you guys are going to like this or not, but it's the bags, the shopping bags at the ABC stores. These are durable bags, I'm telling you, because they're high quality. They're not plastic. It's a great bag.
Mitch has a fascination with bags.
I do.
Sorry.
I had a really good Don Quixote bag. I don't know what happened to it. I think my P2 lost it, but we're not going to go there. So that's all I'm going to say is the ABC store bags, they're worth it. So buy a couple when you're there. All right. I'm surprised about how much we covered tonight about Hawaii, but I'm sure we missed 1 or 2 things. So what's your favorite thing to do or see? And how do you like to use your points and miles when traveling to Hawaii, please let us know. Leave a comment below. Terrence, thank you for joining us tonight. And how can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Peak Season Travel. I'll talk a lot about our travels as a family. I'll talk about hotels that you could book with me. And I'll also add in some tidbits about points. So it's a little bit of everything.
Sounds great. That's it for now. I want to thank all of our hosts. It's Serena.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Miguel.
Later.
And mahalo to you, Taryn, for joining us. We appreciate having you here with us.
Mahalo. Thank you for having me. It was fun.
And I'm Ed Shannon. Make sure you sign up for our email newsletter. Just snap the QR code right now on your screen for the latest and everything going on in the points and miles world. We're back next week with another new show. Mahogany from Deal Duchess LA joins us, and we are headed to Jordan. I can't wait. Thank you for watching and listening.
Let's get to the points.com.